Hello everybody. I just scared my cat. Sorry Kitty, she's eating over there. Today I need a pointer of some kind. Today I'm going to be attempting to explain, hopefully successfully this time, how reality is made up of words. So I'm going to try to delineate, again, successfully, exactly how. Anyway, I've written it all out here, essentially, all the big points at least, so I'm just going to kind of go through them. So the first thing is, I got this quote from a Redditor, which is, whoever owns the narrative determines reality. Right? I mean, it is true that our brains sort of perceive the world through a story, right? I mean, we're very attracted to stories for a reason, right? Because they're almost like just an innate part of the human experience, and therefore, it's like stories are just written into the structure of our psyches, something like that. Like they're just like, yeah, that's why we're drawn to them, because they're just so like deeply embedded within how our minds work and how our minds navigate the world. So, I mean, literally within perception, right? It's like, well, anyway, I don't want to go deep into psychology, but you get my point. Well, partially because I'm not super knowledgeable about how exactly, like neuroscience and all that crap. I mean, it's not crap, it's cool, but I'm just not educated in that area. So, anyway, but yeah, there's that. And then, so essentially, actually, I kind of need to check. I've noticed this before, but I'm not going to rewrite it. I'm just going to kind of say it in the right order. So, thinking is our greatest capacity, right? And language is essentially the vehicle for intelligence, right? So language is what allows intelligence to express itself, essentially, to show itself, right? I mean, like, you can look at something that somebody built with their hands, like what's it called? Maybe they're a potter or a carpenter, and you can say, wow, that person's intelligent, because that's really good work. But language is basically the most direct way that intelligence can express itself, or I would say the best way that intelligence can express itself. And again, thinking is our greatest capacity, because essentially what intelligence is, it all has to do with, I mean, intelligence is, you could say it's just deduction, and that's accurate. It's very accurate to say intelligence is just deduction, right? Nick Miller likes the definition, accurately exploring your experiences. That's good. I do like that, but also Google just says the ability to acquire knowledge and skills, which I also think is a good definition. But personally, I just like the ability to deduce. And also, I suppose, I mean, forming coherent and strong logical arguments is a sign of intelligence, but it's not exactly intelligence. Although, okay, so we get into analogical reasoning, which may be, I was rewatching a video by this guy named Sahej Under Heaven. Well, his YouTube channel is Sahej Under Heaven, and he has a great video on analogical reasoning. It very well may be the same thing as intelligence, but if not, it's essentially the, like, how do I say it? So language is like how intelligence expresses itself. So like analogical reasoning would be the primary way that intelligence expresses itself through language, if that makes sense. I think that makes sense. I'm trying to get the words right, because words matter. They matter more than anything. But yeah, and so, yeah, but it all has to do with like abstraction. The ability to manipulate abstraction is essentially like sort of how intelligence works. If that's the right way to say it. Anyway, I'm doing this video unscripted. I literally just wrote this down like a few minutes ago. Yeah, so anyway. Now, yeah, so there's that. And that I think should go before this, so just like pretend these two are both up here. Anyway, again, I'm not going to rewrite it. I could, but then I have to rewrite everything. Yeah. Alright, so a word is an idea. Every word is an idea. Every word is rule consequentialism. Or every word is a rule, essentially, right? And so rule consequentialism is basically an agreed upon view or like a rule for something. So Nick Miller, who's a great philosopher. He has a great YouTube channel. You should go check him out if you haven't, which you probably haven't, because he's got about 270 subs. He's getting up there in subs, slowly but surely. But go check him out. He's created a meta theory of everything. It's more accurate to say a guide to ontology. Anyway, check him out. The example he likes to use is, if I call a turtle a duck, then I'm wrong. That is breaking the agreed upon view or rule for that word, right? So yeah, if I call a turtle a duck, I'm wrong, or at least that's bad rule consequentialism, right? This is what he says, and I agree with him. Like, he's right to me. Like, we have to have agreed upon definitions for words. So, I mean, of course, within any language, we still have our own individual schema, which, you know, like, some people have favorite words. Like, I really like the word extraordinary or extraordinarily. I use those words quite a bit. I like those words. I also like, I like the word percentile, you know? Percentile. I just like that word, right? Because often at times I think in numbers in terms of, okay, there's about a 95% chance that this will happen or whatever. So that's kind of how my brain works. So yeah, I like, but percentile especially I like, and percentages. But anyway, but like there's still, we have to follow the agreed upon meaning, right? We have to have, sorry, there's a hair in my mouth. We have to agree upon a definition for a word, and that's why. And sometimes people have different definitions, or like slightly different definitions for words, and that's why we talk about them. Sorry. And so, yeah, like that's good, right? That we have to talk about things, and so I think that's all I wanted to say about that. Every word is an idea of a thing, right? So it's certainly the case that no word can like fully capture the essence of what a thing is, right? And to talk a bit more about psychology, sorry, my cat's on my bed, so I'm petting her. Like, this happened to me before while taking shrooms, psilocybin mushrooms. And so, but if you haven't done them, like just think back to when you were a kid and how when you would look at something, like if I were to look at this marker, like say I was a kid, or on shrooms, depending on, like I wouldn't see, oh, this is a marker, and label it immediately, like I do now, as being an adult. I would see it, I literally just, I see it. I see, like, the whole thing. I'm perceiving, like, it's called sheer perception. Let's see, Vsauce explained it very well in one of their videos. He was talking about autism. Essentially, autistic people, the reason why they can often appear, like, slow, mentally slow, is because perceiving so much more information. Essentially, their brain never learned how to categorize, how to categorize things, which again we do with like labeling things. It's like, oh, that's a lamp, oh, that's a keyboard, piano keyboard, whatever. That's a pedal, that's a marker, this is a whiteboard. But like, if you're a kid, you just see the thing. You don't put a word to it. Like you're just literally seeing the thing. And then, I mean, slowly we learn about words, and okay, it says dry erase marker. Oh, okay, so it's called a marker. And then, oh, it's an orange marker. That's more specific. Anyway, the point is, like, you just see it for what it is. When your perceptions are essentially like uninhibited, right? Which again is what shrooms, my cat's looking at it. Psilocybin mushrooms can help your brain get back into that state. That's why it can be incredibly therapeutic and beneficial and healing, right? I mean, I think personally that I've only done shrooms. I haven't done DMT. I mean, I've tripped on my own DMT just for my brain. Breathing exercises can release DMT, or meditation. But personally, I think the potential healing, I think the capacity for psychedelics to heal, like the potential capacity for psychedelics to heal, is unmatched or unparalleled. That's just my opinion, but I digress. Anyway, back to this. But a word is an idea, right? So, like, we have to, like, again, if I were just perceiving this thing, a word can't capture it. It's a marker. It is what it is. Well, that's what we call it, a marker, but it is what it is. No word can fully, like, get accurate and, like, you get what I'm saying. But if we're going to think, we have to attach a word to it. Okay, it's a marker. So again, every word is an idea. And I'll show you my cat. Look at this little stinker. This little stinker. He doesn't really like to be helped, but that's my cat. Anyway, her name's Belle. Anyway, I digress again. Sorry, I'm a bit ADHD, so I can get off topic and make connections. Anyway, that's why writing helps. I've been writing more, and I need to write more. Okay, back to this again. Well, writing does have to do with this. So every word is an idea. Yeah, it's like a concept or an idea that we can then manipulate by thinking, right? Now, there are different types of thinking, right? Some people think in images, some people think in words, some people can think in both. I can think in both images and words. I primarily think in words, but I can think in images. And so, yeah, there's different types of thinking, but ultimately, like, again, the way I would explain it is speech is the most direct way for a person to express themselves. Well, I mean, not necessarily, but you get what I mean? Like, because we have throats and we have a whole voice box, larynx, and vocal cords, like, yes, some people express themselves better through, like, drawing or art. Lele Pons, for example, when she was a kid, she talked very little. But because voice is a part of our body, we have throats, we have also a throat chakra, which, bringing back to chakras, it's not that chakras regulate energy throughout the body, but like, speech is the most direct way, for a person to express themselves, right? So I guess that's debatable, but yeah, you get my point, I think. So now, okay, so our fifth point actually is, so again, I just want to reiterate, abstraction in ideas, words, when we label something, whether it's like, because there are obviously different types of words, like prepositions, nouns, verbs, obviously, but they're all ideas, like two, okay, there's an idea of two, it's two things, or marker, there's an idea of a marker. And again, we can be more specific. An orange marker, that's more accurate to describe this, right? Maybe, I mean, the brand, I don't know, I forget what brand this is, but I think it's Office Hub. An Office Hub orange marker, that's even more specific, right? And I don't know, how we get even more specific. An Office Hub orange marker in good condition, I don't know, like I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know, but essentially, the specificity matters. Again, words matter more than anything. But where was I going with that? Again, ADHD. Yeah, essentially, any word, whether it's the name of a person or the word a, right? A or is like one. You know, we have. So if I say, I have a plan, it's like, I have one plan. Now I could, if I have multiple plans, I could say, I have multiple plans, or I have many plans. That's multiple, many. Many is greater in number than multiple, right? But they're both more than one. So, or like the word two, which T-O-T-O-O or T-W-O. Can be different things depending on context, right? But like, I'm gonna go to Walmart tomorrow, which I'm not going to, but I was thinking about it to buy this new microphone, but I'm not going to. But if I said that, I'm gonna go to Walmart tomorrow, then that word to, T-O, right, spelled T-O, means that I am essentially going to travel to a location, right? But also, I could say, I'm going to start exercising every day. And that means that, essentially, in that case, let's see, how would I describe that? How are you doing, Katie? Just sitting here looking at me. That would mean that I'm essentially, like, about to undertake, not undertake, I'm about to change my habits. Wait, I said about to. I am, it suggests, it suggests a change, essentially. I'm going to start exercising. That word to suggests there's going to be a change in future behavior. Again, it's going to be, you get what I'm saying. Yeah, I think I explained that well. So anyway, now, all right, so next thing. every word, I hope that all made sense, by the way. Feel free to leave comments. Again, this is One Take Unscripted. Literally just wrote this like a few minutes ago before I hit record. All right, every word we speak / write goes to a dimension. This is hard to prove, hard if not impossible to prove, I know. But I have perceived this dimension both while on psilocybin mushrooms and while not on psilocybin mushrooms. And also just through just thinking about things, I've thought, yeah, this makes sense. So that's why all three of those things, like, I would stake my life on this. Like, yeah, if I had to make a bet and be like, okay, God, like, if I'm wrong about this, kill me right now, and then God would do it, I would do that. I would make that bet because I'm like so sure about this. Again, I perceived it on shrooms, which expand, psilocybin essentially expands perception. Now, within that, you can still perceive, you have hallucinations and perceive things that are like not actually there. Just like through daily life, like I could see a face in my floor, and there's no real face. It's just my brain seeing something. Or again, optical illusions, right? But generally, generally our senses are reliable. I see a camera, there is a camera right in front of me, it's recording. I know that there is, right? But sometimes, again, optical illusions, sometimes they're like, oh, that image is moving. It's an optical illusion, and it's not. But you're so sure that it is, because your brain sees it, but it's a trick, But again, generally our senses are reliable, and we can trust them. So, I see shrooms the same way. They expand perception. Generally what you see and experience while on shrooms is probably going to be real, and you can still usually trust your senses, but again, not always. Like, it's like real life. Anyway, because again, that principle is shrooms just they expand your perception, essentially. As far as I understand, I'm no expert in biology or neuroscience or drugs, but I'm going by experience plus just things that I know, I guess. That makes sense. I could elaborate on that more maybe. Anyway, I don't want to get distracted again. Okay, so, yeah, but that's sort of the, sorry. That's another idea that you kind of have to accept, I guess, or if you're going to, like, believe this whole thing. I don't know, it's tough for me to explain, because again, I've seen it on shrooms, I've seen it off shrooms. Like, it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing to try to, I don't know, maybe I'll make a separate video on that, right? But let's just pretend like it does exist, because again, I'm sure I know it exists. But yeah, and so, and by the way, let me say this too, is this is basically like, I realized this not too long ago, and everyone's like, what? Like, it's crazy, but it's the mirror dimension in Doctor Strange, when the Ancient One was explaining to Doctor Strange like how they do what they do. Yeah, she talked about the mirror dimension and how we can go to this dimension, and and what we do here doesn't affect the physical world, right? Like, that's, as far as I can tell, like, I think that's what the writers were going for. Like, it's the same thing. It's like, it is a dimension, but instead of like us physically going there, it's a dimension where all of our words, I'm trying to think. Yeah, okay, so moving to this point. So every word is an idea, right? But we string words together to form sentences, and then we have essentially a coherent thought, right? But that is an idea. Every sentence or every phrase is an idea, right? Hope that makes sense. I mean, I think of it as like a chain, right? You can have one link, one chain link, that has some uses. Just like okay, if I'm at work or something, and I'm trying to communicate something, I'm trying to think. Like, okay, so if there's a dish that's dirty and it needs to be cleaned, but like I don't have time to do it, so I want my coworker to do it. I can like point to it and be like, wash. And like, depending on how intelligent they are, they'll get the idea. Oh, you want me to wash that? You want me to wash the what's it called? Those big metal bowls we put sauce in for the wings. I'm blanking out right now. Let's just say the cutting board. We'll just say that. They'll be like, oh, you want me to wash the cutting board, right? But I could just say wash, and they'll still get a message. Well, depending on how intelligent they are, probably they will. Likely they will. So anyway, yeah, like any sentence, Like even if sentences can go on forever, like or paragraphs, or you get what I'm saying, I guess. Like even a whole paragraph is an idea, right? It's just multiple things together, but it's still like one thing. You get what I'm saying? I hope this makes sense. I'm trying to explain this as clearly as I possibly can, but again, this is my first attempt doing this, like I said, unscripted. So yeah. Now, okay, so essentially every word we speak and every word we write goes to this dimension. Now, it's not like I have a dimension where all the words I speak and write go into, and then every other person. No, it's one dimension for all of humanity. And yeah, languages don't matter. Well, they do, because of rule consequentialism. So that's how languages, yeah, they do matter. But like, so I guess it would be, sorry, I'm trying to work that out now. I've never thought of that before, really. But I mean, I guess it is one dimension, but it's just like, I'm gonna have to think about that one more. Anyway, but all of the ideas of the words, well, okay, so words are ideas, right? Sentences are ideas. So the ideas clash within this dimension, or bounce off of each other is, I think, more accurate. And again, I've perceived this first time I did shrooms. I perceived this, and it's not like I could literally see it and perfectly see it. That's not true, but I could see it. I could perceive it, and so yeah, the ideas bounce off of each other essentially, and then what happens is, or see, I don't know, I can't explain exactly how it works because I'm not God. I didn't create reality, but I can tell you they essentially bounce off of each other, and then like, see, what I perceived is, again, was during my first shroom trip. I did about 1.5 grams, plus or minus 0.1 grams. But what I remember thinking was that, like, at some point there will be like two words, or technically it'd be like two ideas that like are on the same frequency, and then they like match, and then that like, well, see, now I understand it, that becomes part of the collective consciousness. So I still don't know exactly how it works. I know it's an incredibly complex process. I can tell you that much. It's an incredibly complex process. But yeah, essentially, like, the ideas that win. So the ideas that win after, like, again, they all clash, they all interact, bounce off of each other. Yeah, it's all pretty accurate in this dimension, and it's a non-physical dimension, right? But the ideas that win become a part of the collective consciousness, right? So, kind of going back to whoever owns the narrative determines reality. Also, I just realized, I forgot to mention this at the beginning. The air filter, yeah, it's late at night. It's like friggin', it's like 12:07 p.m. or a.m. actually. It's the next day. Crap. Sorry, I just realized something. I've been having synchronicities, so I just put something together. But yeah, so yeah, kind of going back to whoever owns the narrative determines reality. So yeah, the ideas that win, again, they become a part of the collective conscious, and then that is our reality. My cat's scratching the post, so I'll wait for her to finish. But yeah, and so sorry, I just had another idea for another video I should make. I should do that at some point. I'll do that at some point.
You're so soft.
My cat is so soft. I love her. Anyway, so yeah, the ideas that want to become a part of the collective consciousness. So again, it's like, well, what is talked about, literally, again, this is why words matter more than anything, because what is talked about becomes a part of the collective consciousness. So for example, transgenderism, I just made a couple of videos on this. It's absolute nonsense, right? It's delusional thinking. But, oh gosh, you're a bigot. Okay, whatever, okay. Again, if anyone's watching this video and oh, kitty, don't do that.
Don't do that, kitty.
Well, I addressed that in a couple of my... So watch my 2 YouTube shorts before you leave a comment calling me transphobic and whatnot. Kitty, stop it. She's playing with... I have this thing, because this thing is not level, so I put something underneath it. It's got a little string. Anyway, she's funny. I love her. But anyway, so yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah. What are you doing? You're being weird, kitty.
You're being weird. You're being a weird kitty.
I just put you on the bed.
Back on the bed, kitty.
You're gonna jump down probably. Oh no, just chilling there. Alright. Transgenderism is now like a part of the collective conscious because people kept talking about it and you know, it became reality. Now, the ideas became something people talk about, is what I mean when I say that became reality. Again, it's complete nonsense, and it never will. Like the claims they make never will be true. At least 99+% of them, if not 100% of them, will never be true. But you know, we found ourselves, like a number of years ago, we found ourselves talking about it, right? Because these ideas ended up winning, and people started, you know. I mean, I don't want to. Look, the fact is, the average person is not very intelligent. I'm sorry. The average person. It's not necessarily that they aren't very intelligent. The average person does not critically think, or does not think critically, which is really just thinking. Like, if you're like, I said, proper thinking. It's really like, if you're thinking properly. Otherwise, you're not thinking. Like, you're feeling, or you're doing something else. So, thinking critically is really just thinking. To think critically is just to think. Like, you know, they say like black and white thinking, but that's really just like using your emotions. So that's not really thinking. So anyway, that's another thing. But again, I'm sorry, but the fact is, like, most people are just not. They're either. It's not necessarily that most people aren't intelligent, although maybe that's the case. But it's more that most people just don't bother thinking, right? And it's a problem. It's a big problem, because thinking is, well, okay, go to this point. Works perfectly. Thinking is our greatest capacity. Again, or wait, no, I mentioned this earlier, but go back to this point. Thinking is our greatest capacity. Literally, it is like the starting point, the origin of entropy for anything that comes into reality, whether it be physical or, I don't know, like writing an online book or something that's non-physical, but still it's like real, you know, in some sense. And so, like a thought is the beginning of something that could become like an idea, and then an action, and then, well, who knows what can happen after that. And so, like, it is true you are not your thoughts, but it's also the case that while thinking is a skill, yeah, this thing is, I literally have a pencil right here keeping it, because this thing is, anyway. You need to make magnets. They need 2 magnets. That's what I realized. They need 2 magnets. You can't see it. But they need 2 magnets down here. That would be perfect. Anyway, I'm probably going to do that. Just glue them, I guess. Super glue. I feel like it would work, but I got to find 2 magnets. Anyway, getting off topic again. Come on, Brent. Think. I mean, I don't know. Control yourself, Brent. Alright. So, again, yeah, thinking is literally our greatest capacity. I mean, this is my belief, obviously. And so, I mean, it's what separates us from animals, right? A cat, she can't think. Not really, right? She can't reason. Maybe that's a bit more accurate. She can't reason, right? But we can. Humans can, because we're made in the image of God. And so, we are intelligent compared to all other animals, right? But so many, and this is just, I just like, I don't know how to put it properly. I don't know how to properly put it into words, but it's very, like, it's not quite accurate to say it hurts me, but it's frustrating, but it's not just that too. It's that when I see people not thinking and refusing to think, even though I know they have the ability to, they have that capacity for reason, but then they continually choose not to. Like, it screws with me. Okay, like, it really screws with me. Because it is true. Like, humans are the most intelligent creatures, not animals. I will never accept that humans are animals or mammals. No. Like, I mean, look, if you really want to get technical and, you know, okay, this is not what this video is about, but words do matter. So, but yeah, I will never say we humans are animals. Mammals maybe, but we're made in the image of God. Like, anyway, but again, like we have to be willing to think, and so it's very important, and it's kind of why I'm making this video, because reality is made up of words, and so like I know that to be true, and so it's also the case. I guess I could have added this as an 8th point, but like language is the most direct way to expand consciousness, and the more expanded one's consciousness is, the more potential that person has to create. Right? So essentially the more you know, the more you can create, if that makes sense. And it's also the case, see, I made in my like 4.5 minute video on how reality is made of words. I mentioned this, but self-consciousness has a nature that is self-referential, and therefore paradoxical. Language has literally the exact same structure, or the exact same nature. Structure and nature, kind of the same thing, but we'll say nature. Language has the exact same nature, right? Every word is defined using other words, which are then defined using other words. So does it not make sense that our most potent tool for creation, the ultimate creative tool, is something that, or is something whose very nature, or something that has the exact same nature as our own consciousness? That's something to think about, right? It's like, because again, it literally has the exact, it's self-referential, right? It's like the interaction, so self-consciousness, the interaction, Benjamin Davies explains this very well in some of his videos. The Truth of Everything animated, it's a great video, you should go check it out. Everyone should watch the video, I think. And he did another video which is slightly longer, but it's like 5.5 minutes, where he tries to explain it a bit better. But it's the interaction between the mind and the brain that produces self-consciousness, right? And it's a loop. Again, it's a loop. And you can see this if you do shrooms. Sometimes I've seen this before. And that's the thing. Like I didn't know what I was seeing for so long. I was like, what is that feel? It's just like a feeling. It's like, what is that feeling? And then I realized, oh my gosh. Like I'm attempting to apprehend the very thing that sort of gave rise to the creation of my own mind. Like I'm never going to be able to understand it because I have a mind and I'm finite. And anyway, but yeah, we can become conscious of being conscious, right? It's this loop. And again, language literally has the exact same structure, or the exact same nature. Okay, what is this word? Oh, we define it using other words. Oh, then we can understand. Okay, but sometimes within that definition, okay, what does that word mean? Like I'm trying to think. It's Stoicism, right? I saw a post on Reddit about that. Stoicism, it's like there's an aspect of controlling. Well, someone explained it very well, actually, which I think I like this definition, which is that Stoicism is essentially it's a way of life that involves, or is made up of, sort of, if that's right, trying to, or attempting to, it's not maximize positive emotion and minimize negative emotion. That's not right. It's like, how do they word it? Hold on. I gotta read it because I want to get the words right. And I can't quite recall how exactly they worded it. But yeah, this Redditor, because Nick Miller's talking about Stoicism, and I kind of echoed something he said, and well, I did. And they explained, mildly infuriating. Yeah, those things I was talking. It's called an ulcer. Anyway, but where was it? All right, the core of Stoicism, when it comes to emotional control at least, is embracing positive emotions and limiting the harm of negative emotions. That was very interesting when I read that. I was like, oh, okay, never thought about it like that. It isn't about not feeling things. It is about understanding the reality of the situation and feeling emotion that actually makes sense. They said that actually makes sense. That actually makes sense instead of feeling an emotion out of a misunderstanding. This is because the true core of Stoicism isn't about emotional control. Stoicism is a form of virtue ethics in which living in accord with nature and reality is the actual core. Understanding of your world is the key. Now, I thought that was extremely well worded and just made a lot of sense to me. Like, I didn't really know a whole lot about Stoicism, but you'll have to comment, and it's under the r/INTP subreddit. I'm an INTP, so like, okay, I'll leave my thoughts. Again, I echoed what Nick Miller said, which is, no matter what, you're going to end up suppressing parts of yourself. But then they said that, and I was like, well, hold on a second. I'm going to have to rethink my position now, because I've just never thought about Stoicism like that. I always thought it was essentially, I mean, Jordan Peterson explained it one time as like, having the attitude that is, no matter what happens to me, I will do good, essentially. Like, but I never thought about it in that way. And anyway, I need to end this video before it becomes 50 minutes long. But yeah, so I hope this made sense. Any questions, leave them in the comments. I want to talk about this crap. I'm trying to get better at explaining this, because I've had this idea, and like I know reality's made up of words, but a lot of people don't. And so like, yeah. Now also, there's a great video called, what is it, Speaking into Existence, Power of Vowels, and something else. Just type that in YouTube and you'll find it. But it talks about toroidal fields and how vowels, I mean, speech is consonants and vowels, but it's sound, fundamentally. It's sound. And it's really the vowels that give sort of shape to, might be the perfect way to describe it. Vowels are what give the shape to an idea. Something like that. Consonants give the more detail. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, but it's all about like toroidal fields, and yeah, I think like if you watch that video, it I think lines up perfectly with what I'm saying. I think because also there's scalar waves. Anyway, I mean everything is sound. It's true that everything vibrates, and it's like sound is the ultimate sort of predecessor for creation. No, that's not right. It's like sound is sound creates everything essentially. So yeah, that is the case. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, the thing is, like I'll say this too, is I am a Christian, and so I do believe the Bible is 100% true, unless we mistranslated parts of it. Which I know there's certain parts apparently like we did mistranslate with certain words. Anyway, I need to study that a bit more, but I need to memorize the Bible probably before I do that, and then kind of do it all together, study etymology, the Greek words and all that. But it's pretty interesting actually. But now, what was I about to say? Oh yeah, so I do believe the Bible is true, and what it says in Genesis, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. I believe that, and it also talks about how God spoke the universe into existence, spoke the world and all, everything into existence, and so I believe that, and also, and keeping that in mind, I also believe that we're made in the image of God, as it says in Genesis 1:26. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our own likeness." And I'm sorry, I'm having deja vu right now for some reason. I don't even know why, but it's trippy. It's weird. Yeah, and so, while we're made in the image of God, God spoke everything into existence. Therefore, it's kind of not make sense that we speak into existence. Yes, but it's a much more complex process because we're not God. We're made in His image. So, yeah, again, it's an incredibly complex process, but we do speak things into existence. We speak reality into existence. Again, not literally, I want a copy of Carl Jung's, Archetypes in the Collective Unconscious in my hand in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and then it appears, man, I wish, that'd be so cool, but, yeah, again, I'm not God. We're not gods, so we can't do that. But, again, yeah, I think I've already explained it well enough. I'm going to shut up now before I just start talking too much and too many words where I just start saying nothing, right? So yeah, let me know what you thought of this video. Tried my best to explain it as clearly as possible. But let me know your thoughts, and yeah, I gotta go to bed now soon. But Cash is looking at herself. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have an amazing day, and I need to calm down. But what else? Just remember, it's all about love. Ultimately, it's all about love, and Jesus and God, and yeah, that's what it's all about, man. Loving other people because Jesus first loved us. God so loved the world, so He sent Jesus, and Jesus loves us, and so that's why we should love other people. That's what it's all about, and yeah. So be careful what you say, be careful what you do, and okay, yeah. All right, okay. You get it. All right. Have a great day, evening, night, summer, year. What am I saying? Bye. Peace. I don't know why I'm still recording. I guess I'm just lonely, ultimately, honestly. But yeah, that lighting's kind of cool. Look at that. All right, bye.